for å sjekke. Du kan bli stående på scenen.
Ja, vel.
Vi kommer til å få noen stoler ut på gulvet. Vi kommer til å ha en liten paneldebatt. Jeg kan også si, ellers mens vi rydder ut stolene, som en liten sånn småbarnsmor da, så snakker man mye om bærekraft. Har du vært på Kutoppen? Da er det ikke lov å si bærekraft, eller bærekraftig, for det er et negativt ladet ord å si kraftig, så da sier vi bæresterke. Nå vet jeg det også. Clemens, Erik, when I was...
Hei. Hei. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
They're on the go.
Jij wil in het midden. Oké.
Oh. Dacht jij zit er in het midden.
So, Clemens, I will start with you. The first question. Are you ready?
No.
No.
Always.
Always. That's good. I wonder if you can do load testing in cloud, with cloud?
Yeah. I had the load testing example during my presentation. The interesting part there is cloud scales. So when you put load on it, it starts to scale. And that, how are you validating if that scaling goes right and that kind of stuff? So that's an interesting question. So yes, you can do it. And all the cloud providers are giving the opportunity to load test from all around the globe. We also did it in the past for, I think, Norwegian harbors or something like that. Is that we were testing from all around the globe and putting load on systems there. Then you also immediately get the question is, when I'm load testing from a public cloud provider on a system which is on the same cloud provider, what am I testing then? That's a very interesting question there. So Rick definitely has some opinions about testing your own cloud, actually, putting load on your own cloud there. So I'm not sure about it. Hopefully you have some answers for me there.
The most funny thing to try is to do stress testing on the cloud and try to see where the cloud breaks.
That will be very costly.
It will cost a lot, because you get a large bill of all the processor capacity.
But
it's
also
not very sustainable.
When you are testing it like that, you're actually validating if your application can scale. Because you are going to build many, when you do microservices, for example, they are going to burst also many microservices. And then you get the question, okay, when I send one request, which service is going to consume it? And that's also a very interesting scenario to test there.
But I think with load testing of cloud starts far more with reviewing your architecture and your design, because if you design it well, the cloud can cope. And because traditionally with your on-premise hardware, you want to see what the capacity of the hardware is. But cloud is almost unlimited.
So validate your architecture. I just heard there. Don't do load testing from cloud because it consumes too much.
So Rick, to follow up with you then. So what do the organization do to improve their sustainability?
What do organizations do? Well, some do surprisingly little, but more and more organizations get aware of sustainability and how important it is. And I think you just already gave quite a number of clues about what we can do. But the most important thing is just awareness, that people start thinking about sustainability as one of the quality characteristics. Because, yes, of course, functionality is important. It should do what it should do. But also think about how often do we need it, and can we build it more sustainable? Or do we ever even need an IT system? So, that's what...
I just mentioned during my presentation with the templates which are sustainable by design. I call it sustainable driven design. What you're actually mentioning is I gave my developers, when we had that first cloud set up there, insights in the costs. I call it then cost-driven development. Now we are giving them direct the impact they make on their cloud infrastructures from a carbon footprint perspective. So then I call it sustainable-driven development. That's the next step of unit testing. But like we mentioned, it's about
environment and economic and social, and you try to find the balance.
But insights is definitely, I think, very important.
So then I will ask Erik. I will ask you in English, and you can choose if you want to reply in English or Norwegian. So what surprised you most when you got the answer from your colleagues?
Well, first of all, I would say the response. I was very pleased with the response I got. 79 responses was more than I hoped for, actually. So thank you very much. And also the level of engagement. People really care. So that was nice to see. And so people responded to the survey, and they have also contacted me, several people afterwards. Because now I am all of a sudden the sustainability expert and spokesperson. So now people are contacting me with ideas and what we should do, and so I encourage people to continue doing that, and we'll get it through the right channels.
So let's go back to you again, Clemens. What is the biggest challenge that DevOps teams and testing have or meet?
The biggest challenge between DevOps and testing, actually what Rick already mentioned many times, testing disappeared in DevOps.
Well, one of the interesting things is a couple of years ago, a client of Society in the Netherlands, they asked me to do a training course for their developers about testing. Why? Because one or another manager had decided that they would do DevOps and they didn't need any testers anymore. Because in DevOps you don't need testers. And then they quickly discovered you do need testing. So you may not have people that you want to call testers, but somebody needs to do some testing. And then I try to educate them two things. One is testing is fun, because not all developers believe that. But the other is, it's better to build in quality at the start and do a little testing at the end than have a full-blown testing team and all of that. So I do agree that you may not need people who are skilled testers, although, but you do need testing skills in a team. And an easy way to get testing skills in a team is by having a tester in your team.
So what the first report I showed about what are the challenges of enterprise DevOps teams when they are working for large organizations, and we interviewed more as 300 teams at all our customers, and what I noticed that many teams even don't know what the quality standard is of their organization. So awareness is definitely important there, because they don't even know if they are making a Alibaba-like product or an Apple-like product. And when you don't know what the quality is as you are developing, it is very, very, very challenging there.
Therefore, in the book we have 20 quality engineering topics, and the first topic is quality and test policy. Yeah. What's the policies for the organization? And all that, I'm not going to ask people to raise hands if you have a policy, because that may not be a nice question. But when you go back to your work, ask yourself, do we have a quality and test policy? And do I know what's in it? Because actually I have written a quality and test policy for an organization a couple of years ago. And then last year, somebody who's working there came to me and said, you know what I found? I found a policy document you made. So, what do you mean you found it? I thought everybody was using it. No, they just put it somewhere in...
Yeah. And that's also what you need to do with sustainability there. You need to have a good policy, good insights, and that everybody follows it. So again, the cultural part. Yeah. That's what we wrote actually in the second paper about how to build a security-first culture. That's quite interesting, and there are some examples in there, and I map security, sustainability all under the umbrella quality almost, but how to build a quality-first culture, it's very interesting, and there are many tricks how you can do that actually. So
Rick, what can we as a company, Society, help the clients with be better in quality engineering and testing, but also in the same time sustainability?
Yeah, well, like we said, it starts with defining what you want. But then also, and I think you also refer to that, is make people aware and investigate what you can do, because it often starts very small. Because you said your colleagues gave you some examples. Can you give some examples?
Yeah, someone suggested, for example, a carpooling application for going to and from office. And so that was one of them, a very good idea. And I think there's some work being done on that. But I also have seen, even though people are aware and they care, I still feel that there is a gap between the corporate level and the leadership level and the regular consultant level, both with regards to information and knowledge and awareness. So I think people need to challenge and investigate, like you say. And also I think management, both locally and nationally, globally, they have some work to do as well to get the message out and spread awareness internally.
Yeah. So and to hook on something that Clemens explained, if you want people to do the right thing, make sure doing the right thing is the easy thing. And that's where managers come in. If they facilitate being sustainable is the easiest thing to do, then it helps a lot.
Much more likely to adopt it. Definitely.
Yeah, and on the other hand, often we also need a specific thing to happen to drive us to become more sustainable. Because I guess it will be rather similar here in Norway, but in the Netherlands, the use of natural gas has dramatically dropped over the last couple of months. And why is that? Because it has become so expensive that people now start thinking, how can I save gas? Because I can't afford to heat my house anymore. So let's do something about it. They even now have, and I thought it was a fun fact, you know these delivery guys who deliver pizza to your home? You can now also order insulation material to isolate your house. And then the delivery guy comes on his moped to your house and brings you the stuff.
And installs it?
I'm not sure. Maybe if you ask nicely.
Would be a nice business case. Huh?
Yeah.
So make it easy, definitely, I agree. But also I would like to add, while it's a very serious business matter, of course, sustainability, it's the planet, our future, we need to also have room for fun or positivity, and to see the positive aspects or what can we do in a more positive light. Because, like I said, I had a couple of free text fields in my response, and I got some funny results. People are using humor as well, and I really appreciate that as well. I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. People react differently. Some people use humor, and as a matter of, they react and they use it. So I think we should not be afraid to also use humor and see the positive sides.
Then we will stop there, because we will save some energy by having 2 minutes left, and we are a couple of minutes late, so let's save the energy. Vi kjører da kaffe. Kaffe finner dere inn til høyre her, og gå og besøk partnere, så tar vi en liten pause. Takk.
Coffee over there.
Thank you.